right, guys, we got another very generous donation from Stephen Zealous. He is the guy who built all the beautiful hardwood pinning trays and also built the stand for all of my picks. So, Stephen, thank you for all that stuff. I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out. Stephen's also a very accomplished lockpicker, and recently he sent me a handmade pick set for lever locks. This is not a lever lock. This is a Yale, let's see if I can read this to the camera, Y-121. It's a 50 millimeter. It looks like it's a double shielded. Looks like maybe a steel outsert around the outside of this to give it its shielding for the shackle with a brass core. So I don't know if this comes apart. We do have some keys, and it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like a 5-pinner. And I think I can see right now, right there, got a really, that's about the maximum cut, hiding behind what appear to be 2 of the minimum cuts, or very close to it, right in here. So, Stephen, that might be part of it. The other part of it, being a Yale, you have a pretty paracentric keyway to be working with. So, combination of going around that corner and trying to not overset something while reaching that very high one back might be kind of tough. So what I usually try to do is get a very thin pick. These are my 10,000ths from Rare Elements, but I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to be able to go through there. I think that piece of warding right there deflects the pick off into that little piece of warding, which is probably designed to prevent me from doing exactly that. I may have to just pick from this little ledge here with something less than ideal. Let's try it. See what we got here. Oh, was playing with that a little earlier. Put this guy in here. Get a tensioner. That'll work. Now I know why I color-coded these things, so I can try them in order. Thickest to thinnest. This is the second one. This is the, I believe this is the 1 millimeter. And that's just about perfect. All right, let me find a pick. Since I'm going with multi-pick, I might as well stick with multi-pick. European lock. We got a European pick. Multi-pick. This is the PN, looks like 06. It's I believe, the medium hook. And what I will try to do before we get too wound up, I will take my 10,000th, apply a little tension, and see if I can get them around that corner. Maybe we can rake up a fault set. I mean, it's only 5 pins, right? Tell you what, why don't we put a mark on it, just in case we get something. Put them right there. All right, now let's try for that fault set. And there we go. That is what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can rake them all the way open. Nope. All right. I'm going to go in here with this guy. I'm going to actually put him in on the bottom and then roll him around that corner. Get in there. And then attack from the rear and then move forward. Looking for counter rotation because Yale loves spools. Nothing. Okay, there was one right there. That is pin 4. See if I can get him without oversetting and dropping anything. Well, I'm not sure if we got him or not. I heard a click. There's 3. Wow, deep, deep, deep. And I heard everything drop. That was 2. That was 1. We lost that false set completely. I'm going to have to get that rake back. Okay, there we go, fault set, and I get a counter rotation on 1 there. There's that deep fault set back. Pin 3, right on the bottom, trying to get under him. Okay, got him. Not talking. I keep thinking it's right behind pin 1, but when I push up on the tension wrench, it gives me counter rotation, so I got to be careful with that. I believe that's 3. Okay, I got to click on 3. I lost a little bit of the fault set though, so let's check the guys in the front. Nothing. All right, Steven. Okay, I just bumped somebody in the back and my fault set came back. I'm starting to see why you sent this to me. Three again. All right, there's 3, but we lost that fault set. In the world. All right, I'm just going to put light tension. I'm just going to drag my pick out. Trying to force something to get my fault set back. All right, there it is. Pin 1, counter rotation. Got him. But no open. Check it. No. It's pretty strong spring tension. Okay, a little bit deeper fault set there. Three again. You kidding me? And there we go. All right. I don't know, guys. I know definitely spools. It almost felt like there were some kind of T-pins inside of there. Set that off to the side there. Unfortunately, there's no screw to take them apart. See how smooth the key works. Beautiful. Just like you'd expect from a brand new lock. All right, tell you what. Since Steven had so much trouble with this thing, and I had so much trouble with this thing, I think it would probably be interesting to see what Yale has put inside of here. Let me see if how... Okay, I thought that was steel, but it is not. Probably aluminum, so it should be pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and try to just cut this sheath off. Let's go ahead and I'm going to machine it open, and let's see what kind of pins Yale has put in here. All right, guys, I was actually clamping this up in the milling machine, and I noticed this flexing. And I thought, that's unusual for pretty thick aluminum. So took a probe, started tapping on it, and it turns out that this is plastic. And the only thing that holds it in, I took my Lock Lab plastic hammer, whacked on the shackle a few times, and the lock just pooped right out of the bottom. The only thing holding this inside of this plastic, you see that little hole right there? There's a little pin sticking out right, hope you can see that, right there, that engages in that hole. It keeps it in there. If you move it back and forth, you can feel it jiggling in there if you know that that's what you need to be looking for. Outside, there's no marking indicating that Yale actually made this or anything. Pretty rough finish. The only other pin is right here. But that pin, the only thing it does is it retains the shackle. So if the lock were open and we were to drill that pin out, the shackle would then be completely removed. So that's a shackle retaining pin. No other pins on it. On the bottom, we got a water drain hole, of course. And I thought, well, if they're going to cut all these corners, you know, bad finish, no marking, plastic, and what kind of shielding is that? Plastic. Anyway, I thought maybe they cut some other corners. So I thought maybe they didn't internally shield it. Got my knife, stuck it in there, but unfortunately this one is shielded. It really would be unusual to find a modern Yale that isn't shielded. Haven't found one of those in a long, long time. Next thought, maybe I can shim it. So grabbed a couple of shims, and it's pretty tight. I could only get a shim in one side, and I couldn't get it in the front. You can only get it in the side, but it won't rotate around, and I tried it attacking from both sides. So again, since I did have the key, I thought I would take a look, and here's why. At least this part's well designed. It has the edge right there, so when you slide the shim around, it gets caught there. Same on the other side, and when you try to slide the shim in from the front, it slams into that flat spot there, preventing you from inserting it any further. Certainly not going to retract that very strong springed locking pawl. Just not going to happen. So, if you don't have a key, you got to pick it, or you got to machine it open. Let me go ahead and clamp this part up at least, and let's see what kind of pins they put in here. All right, guys, that came out a lot better than I could possibly have hoped. In fact, nothing came flying out of there, and I thought this might be a great opportunity to show some of you newer guys how these double locking padlocks work internally. Very simple mechanism, but it's also pretty innovative. If you've never seen it, it's kind of hard to envision what's happening inside of the lock. I went ahead and color-coded it with a mark slot. The red indicates the core. So obviously your key goes in there, your key pins are here, your driver pins are there, and your springs are located up in there. I have not machined this off to take them out yet, but I will. We'll get to it. I just didn't want to destroy this before we had a chance to show stuff off. On the top here, marked in green, is our locking bar. There are actually two of them. There's one on the top here that engages on this side into the cutout, and then there's one on the bottom, and you can just see part of it right there, that engages into the cutout on that side of the shackle. A lot of these have two cutouts in the shackles, but there's only one locking bar because it's cheaper, but this one actually has two. So how does it work? Well, when we slide the key in, and I'm going to hold my thumb so nothing comes flying out. When we turn the key, it retracts both of those. You can see them both pulling back, and there's a little burr in there, but you see it comes open. I'm going to pull the key out so our cord doesn't come flying out, and that is how it works. Between the two locking bars, right here, there's a really powerful little spring with a guide rod that keeps them pushed in place even when it's unlocked, and the guide bar keeps them perfectly aligned so they don't get caught up inside of the lock itself. As I said, when I was machining this, I got kind of lucky, and I found a slot located here with a little steel pin that came up to about right there. So I kind of pushed them out a little bit. That's the steel pin that holds everything in. And the way they do this, when they're building them, they drop a spring in, and I think if you look down in there, you can see that spring, and that's the spring that pushes the shackle out. And then they push the shackle inside of there, and then they drive that pin in, and then inset them so nobody can pull it out. I am going to pull it out. I haven't done it yet, so this is where things start going bad. Okay, there's our pin, or at least part of the pin, and he should come out. Okay, I'm going to put the key back in because what has happened here is that the locking pawl right there has gone into the groove that normally that pin fits in. So I'm going to retract that, and now out comes our shackle. Pretty easy. The pin goes in right here, and that's what limits how much our shackle can move up and down. When we look down inside of there, should be able to see, and maybe even get them out of there, if the locking pawl is not going to be in our way. In fact, why don't we turn the key, and now we should be able to remove that spring without too much trouble. Or not. He's getting caught up in the back there, but I think you get the idea. There's your spring. All right, let me go off camera again. Now that you know how this thing works, I'm probably going to have to machine this side off to pull all the pins out. So let me get that, and we'll be right back, because pins, man, that's what we're really after here. This was just a little sideshow. Be right back. All right, guys, kind of surprising to find 3 different size spools, 3 different lengths. So we got 2 what I would call short ones located in 1 and 3, and then 4 and 5 also have spools, but I think you can see those are also different length. The reason they put different lengths in there is to give you different depths of false het and make it a little harder to detect, and I think I certainly had trouble with it. They also put 1 standard pin. With this many spools, if we put all spools, we would have a lot of flop in the lock. So they put a standard pin in there to keep keep the core kind of tight, at least until you pick past that second pin, and then you're going to be fighting the 4 different link spools. So very, very cool lock in this Yale Series Y-121/50. Anyway, Stephen, thank you, sir, for the lock. I appreciate it. I'm going to get all the pieces back together. I'll put them in an envelope. I will get them right back to you. Thank you, sir, for the loan. Appreciate it. Everybody else, stay safe. Stay legal.
Lock Lab, where the fun begins.